Hey, what is up, guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. Hope you guys are all having a great day. We have yet another near collision with yet another unidentified object and a passenger jet that went into emergency mode over Canada and actually had to go into a steep dive to avoid hitting a UFO that the pilot said, and I quote, was too high to be a drone. So, this news story has just hit the web. We had a Porter Airlines Dash 8 turboprop plane that had the near miss with the UFO. It was coming into land at Billy Bishop City Airport in Toronto. There were 54 passengers on board that were flying from Ottawa. So, they're flying along, and out of nowhere, an unknown object nearly caused a very serious midair collision. And you can tell just how serious this was. This was not something like a bird getting hit by the plane, flying toward it, or sometimes you'll have birds that unintentionally get sucked into the engines. This object was large enough that the experienced pilots, made a split-second decision to take the plane that was carrying 54 souls on board into a nosedive just to avoid this thing. And in which we had 2 flight attendants who were injured as the plane went into the dive in order to avoid hitting this mystery object. Now, this is really, really funny. And for those of you who have followed this research for some time, you'll think it's comical as well. It was then reported initially that the object that appeared in their flight path may have been, quote, a hot air balloon, a weather balloon, or a drone. Now, how many times have we heard these words? Have we heard this very same excuse for nearly every major or undebunked UFO incident that has occurred and is perpetuated by the US government, the military, and the agencies under their control? However, aviation experts, including the pilots, have made it very clear that these theories are nonsense. And so the official cause, as of right now, is that a UAV, which stands for Unmanned Aerial Vehicle, was responsible for the near collision. But how do they know that it was not piloted? How could they possibly know this? Now, since this story has been published, there has been an outpouring on social media by pilots across the world who have been quick to point out that it is very unlikely that there would have been a drone flying at 10,000 feet in the air that caused this near collision. One pilot is quoted as saying, "A pilot seeing something unexpected might have reported a UFO. Today, it's a drone. But a drone at 9,000 feet? I don't think so." And we have Peter Roundtree, who is the senior regional investigator with the Transportation Safety Board of Canada, who said that the pilots were unable to identify the object and that nobody knows at this point what it was. We've got our work cut out for us. What did they encounter? Finally, he said, quote, "It definitely wasn't a bird and that it was a fairly large object." So this, if you guys remember, one of the main points of the last few videos we've posted, and this seems to be happening more and more and more, we're getting more and more of these near collisions, these near midair collisions with unidentified objects flying near planes, shadowing planes. We have done countless videos where we have talked about this phenomenon, where we definitely have unidentified objects, vehicles, whatever you want to call them, and they are in our skies. Our civilian as well as military aircraft are not the only thing in our skies. And we have documented evidence of this going all the way back to World War II and before, where we have reports of UFOs, otherwise known as Foo Fighters, as they were called by the troops during the Second World War, that would follow their planes, play chicken with their planes, flying at breakneck speeds, maneuvering unlike any craft that we had on Earth at the time or since. And we have spoken about countless reports from pilots from every decade, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, from all around the world, testifying to their encounters with these unknown craft, some of them taking the disc or saucer shape, others looking like glowing fireballs of all colors, orbs, triangular TR-3B shaped objects. It's just an endless array of UFOs that have been encountered. President Obama's former pilot once spoke about his encounter. One of our most recent videos, we were talking about these pilots who also had a near miss with an unidentified object, glowing, fast-moving object that flew directly under their plane and came so close to their plane that it scorched the bottom of the aircraft. That's how close this thing was, and whatever this thing was, it had some sort of force field or aura around it that, when coming in contact with this plane, it just ate the metal off of the belly of this plane. We're seeing more and more of these near misses, and it's very interesting. It speaks to the truth of the matter in this research that we're doing, and it further corroborates it. And no matter how many times we are told that, oh, it was nothing, it was a weather balloon, it was swamp gas, and our very real concern about these objects is just kind of brushed to the side by those in power, we all know the truth. So I'm just happy that no one on board was hurt. They were able to bring the plane out of the nosedive and land safely. Had a couple people injured, taken to the hospital, but all in all, they're safe. They don't know what the object was, and it seems that they are already on damage control, trying to cover up what the object was, saying that it was a hot air balloon, a unmanned vehicle, when they have no evidence to validate their conclusions. And we also have decorated pilots who would know very well what a hot air balloon looks like versus a drone versus a fairly large, and I quote, fairly large unidentified object that still to this second has, quote, got their work cut out for them. So we will continue to follow this story. Let me know what you guys think. Now, we have a new piece of UFO footage from the International Space Station. This was identified by the YouTube channel StreetCap1. He does great work, another UFO research channel like ours. I'll put the link to his channel down in the video description. And what he's captured here is this, what looks like a glowing donut-shaped UFO moving slowly above Earth before disappearing into the clouds. So go ahead and check this out. Alright, so we have this new footage taken from the ISS. The camera was pointed down at the Earth, and we definitely have something here. An unidentified object moving over the top of the Earth's atmosphere, glowing. When we zoom in on the object does look to, some have said it looks to have a spinning type movement to it. Unfortunately, the video footage is grainy. You would think in today's day and age that the ISS, especially NASA, with all of their billions of dollars, would be able to afford HD 4K resolution videos, which I have no doubt that they actually have up there. But, they're giving us this circa 2005 video technology to the public. Now, we've also had viewers who have said that this object seems to be disturbing the cloud cover as it goes lower and disappears into the clouds. So you guys can watch the video over and see if there is actually a sort of a trail, or this cloud cover actually being disturbed as the UFO passes before finally disappearing, either by going down into the atmosphere or what have you. But this is definitely not the first time we've captured objects, UFOs, just overall very mysterious activity happening up in space. It moves, and again, it looks to move into the clouds. So I'll leave it up to you guys. Big thanks to StreetCap1. Check out his channel. Now, lastly today, I want to talk about this other news story that's just hit the web of what they're calling a burning UFO, and that alien hunters are in a frenzy after this so-called burning UFO is caught on camera flying over Lima, Peru. So you're seeing that footage here. Not only that do they say we have a UFO here, but they also are claiming that the UFO actually interacts with the electrical system and is responsible for turning on this street light that you'll see is turning on just as the UFO is flying overhead.
Son las 6:30 de la tarde.
So there you have it. A lot of news stories about this, and I mean, honestly, this is the type of UFO sighting that we don't like to post on because, in my opinion, it gives ufology a bad name. And furthermore, we have these online publications, many of them who will very quickly jump to conclusions, obviously not even reviewing footage before they post it. And, I mean, look, it's obvious that this object is likely a passing airliner. I have seen enough footage, and any of you guys can go out on a sunny day where the sun is just starting to set, and you will see these planes overhead that are glowing yellow and orange because the sun is reflecting off of them. So you'll have the sort of orangey red, yellowish glow that's moving through the sky, very slowly and steady, just like this object is because it's a passing airliner. And then we have the street light that turns on, which they are somehow now linking to the UFO and claiming that it happened because of the UFO. So you're telling me that a UFO that's flying 20 or 30,000 feet high is just going to randomly turn on a street light in Peru? That's the big display of power that is apparently now shocking the locals. It didn't teleport. It didn't shapeshift, it didn't make any sudden left or right hand turns, nor did it shoot a beam down and abduct a cow or a human. No, it turned on a light bulb. So basically what we have here, we have a plane going by at sunset, and because it's sunset, we have street lights that come on. There is nothing supernatural about this. But you know what? That is not to say that there aren't UFO sightings. In fact, there has been a large, long history of UFO sightings, specifically in Peru, where back in the 70s we had an actual landing where two men who were driving down a dirt road came into contact with a silver disc-shaped craft that had landed. This happened in 1972, and the disc, oddly enough, landed near the Nazca geoglyphs. Peru is well known. And if there was ever a place on Earth where you would believe that UFOs had definitely been sighted and that there was evidence to back that up, all you need to do is look at the Nazca lines. Back in the late 1920s, when airlines very first started flying over Peru, the passengers on these planes were stunned to see what are known today as the Nazca geoglyphs, which is this huge range of lines, figures, shapes, and drawings that are miles in length and diameter, and that are so large can only be seen from space, can only be seen from high-flying airliners. And many of these depict what look like alien figures, alien astronauts, ancient astronauts, as you're seeing in this image here, where we have this humanoid figure that appears to be sort of an astronaut. Others have said he looks more like a modern-day gray alien. And by the way, these drawings in Nazca are scattered over an area of 200 square miles. And the figures are so large that you can only appreciate them from space, from high up in the sky. It's the only way you could see them. If you're on the ground, they cannot be seen. You would not know what you were looking at. And there has been a lot of debate as to the reason for these drawings and other things, these straight lines that look like landing strips. Ancient space landing strips that, again, can only be seen from space. Many who believe were created specifically for the landing of an object entering Earth from space, because that is the only way that they could be seen. And these mysterious drawings were created by the Nazca people who existed between the 1st and 8th century. And another thing about these lines and drawings is with which the manner that they were created very carefully by the removal of reddish iron oxide pebbles that make up the desert, after which, once exposed, the underlying dirt, which contains high amounts of lime, became hardened and resistant to erosion. And again, these things were created long before aircraft existed. So there had to be a reason for them to create these things. What was it that was up in space, that was high up, that would have been able to see these things? Another thing we talk about when looking at these figures is due to how precise they are in their design. So the people that created them would have needed someone or something to guide them, because these lines are so straight and so precise and accurate that it's almost unbelievable. And again, this is by an ancient society, and we have figures spanning hundreds of miles that are so large and yet so precisely and accurately created. And it all goes back to what purpose? So again, Peru has a very colorful history of UFO incidents, of ancient artwork. And you know, this type of artwork, cave drawings, whatever you want to call it, they span the entire world. This artwork that indicates alien visitations is visible everywhere, where we'll have drawings like this found in India, where we have figures almost bowing to this saucer-shaped disc object that, you know, perfectly resembles to many researchers a flying saucer, an alien spacecraft, and that were seen as gods by the ancient people. So I highly suggest doing some more research into the Nazca figures. However, when it comes to this UFO footage that some people are just completely losing their skulls over, I think that we need to have a little bit more diligence and analysis when getting and looking at pieces of footage like this, where you just use common sense and say, hey, a plane is passing over just as the sun is setting and we have streetlights that are coming on. So I think this one can be debunked, but we have countless others that have not been, and that's what we will continue to feature on this channel. So let me know what you guys think about everything we've spoken about today. More activity in our skies than ever, to the point where we're having near collisions with airlines. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter for updates as to when new videos are coming out. All of my info you can find down in the video description. Alright, so thank you guys for stopping by. If you like the work I'm doing, throw me a like, and be sure to stick around because we've got a lot more coming. Stay safe, guys.